Welcome to another episode of Morelia Python Radio. And in this episode, we are talking with Ish Quinones of IQ Exotics. He has some amazing carpets, and he has a particular focus for the red coastal carpet. We'll talk about his projects. We talk about what he has on deck this upcoming season and future projects. We talk about the market and much more. Let's get into it. Episode 542.
Well, all right. I guess we'll just kind of let it roll. Ish, welcome to the show. I guess we'll start with, or we start with everybody. Kind of what brought you into reptiles? What brought you into carpets?
All right. So I've always I kind of went the non-traditional route with fish. So I kept fish for a really long time. So I have them just kind of gradually eased into reptiles. So started with ball pythons back in 2013, 2014. Quickly realized I don't like them. They're not for me. They're pretty, but they don't do anything. Tried chondros. Quickly realized they're very expensive and they don't like being outside that particular box. Right. So I had two of them and they both, they died over time. So went with carpets, was actually doing a lot of research on them. Of course, jungles drew me in, but then just reading up on, that jungles can be 8-9 feet, which we know is not the case. Went with IJs and then just kind of eventually veered towards coastals. They just have that color palette that I like. And they don't get as big as Google says. So they're really, it's just, I don't know. I just like them. They're impressive, but they're manageable. They have that wow factor, but they're not something like a large retic or a large constrictor. So it's like, okay, cool. I can work with that. Right. And then eventually got into that little rabbit hole that people always get. They get IJs, they get this, they get that, they get the diamonds. Quickly realized I don't need the infinity stones of Morelia. Just keep what makes me happy. And now I'm at that point that for each red that I brought in, something has to get kicked out. So the jungles are being phased out. I do have a pair of IJs sitting around that they do need to make their way out. I actually need to reach out to that person. Otherwise, they're going to stay here this winter and they're going to breed. Then they're going to get the boots.
Right, then they're going to go, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but... and that's just where I'm at right now. Just kind of like my own little happy red coastal corner with a few little things going on. I do have some Caribbean boas as well and a few snoring boas. So I do have 2.1 Puerto Rican boas. 2 of them are from Eric, one's from Rob. And now I have Dominican, I call them Hispaniolan boas, but everyone calls them Dominican Red Mountain boas. Yeah. But it's weird because they're not from the mountains. Like you can see red individuals. Yeah, it has to be a Crutchfield thing. I don't know.
No, he wanted to name them something else. He wanted to name them after himself or whatever. But yeah, I don't. I love it. They find the one, and it's like clearly we're in the mountains, so that is what we'll call it. It's like you got one in the mountain, all the rest are down there. It's like it doesn't matter. Too bad. So
they're really just like carpets, though. They're just so variable. Like they're all over the island.
And they also like with bredli, because everybody's always like, I want the reddest baby that you've ever seen. I'm like, well, it depends on what sunlight I put it in. And like, it's going to go orange, red. Like, I don't. And they're like, what? I'm like, never mind. Yes, this is it. This is right here. This is the one.
I'm curious real quick with the Puerto Rican boas, right? Rob insists that I would love them because they're very much like a coastal carpet. What's your thoughts on that?
So they can be a little bitey when they're small. The only complaint that I have about them is the musking. They can be, but that's when they're small. As they grow, they tend to chill out. My adult male from Eric is, I can pretty much, one of the few animals I can actually reach into the cage and just grab him. He's fine. Mm-hmm. So they're okay. But as neonates, they can be a little on the nippy side.
I would not recommend it for Eric because it is not a Morelia. So he'd get it. He'd be like, this thing is cool. And then a year later, it would be at my house. Like, it would just, yeah.
See how that works?
Yeah. And I don't want them, so please don't do it, Eric. So
I like them. I like that they can fire up and fire down. Like if I come into the snake room really early in the morning, he looks almost hypo. But then throughout the day, like he does get darker. So it's actually pretty cool to see that. So and I keep them no different than the carpets. So maybe I feed them a little bit more frequently. But if I feed them over the winter time, it's smaller meals.
I just can't have another project, so he's got to pump the brakes. So, yeah.
Are you interested in any of the other West Indian boas?
So I don't want to say anything too loud because then I end up with them in my collection. So Eric Hernandez was like, he was like, well, you might like Cuban boas. I'm like, yeah, I probably would like Cuban boas, but they get big. I like their color. It actually reminds me of desert camo.
Yeah.
So I would consider getting them. The one I would really love to get, which I don't think we have here in the States anyway, is the Mona Island boas. So they're smaller, they're boreal. Yeah, they're pretty cool looking. There's something about them. Or I was setting up like a Garcia boa, which is like the same. They look similar, but they're in Dominican Republic. But yeah, that's about it. I thought about Ford's boas, but they just get too small. So, and now that I have a female Cebu neonate in my care, I'm like, I don't want to deal with anything this small. And even with her, I'm like, she's more liasis than liasis. Because she's just
Cebus are horrible. Like, I don't think I've ever met a baby Cebu that wasn't just a terror. Like, biting and wrapping up the tongs, and you just leave the tongs in there because then I think I had multiple tongs because I fed one Cebu and they took the tongs. Then I fed the next Cebu and they took the tongs. It's like, oh, I gotta keep feeding everybody else. So, yeah.
I go through that downstairs, and she's just suicidal. Like she's ended up on the floor twice. One of my dogs has a really high freight drive. So I'm like, please don't die.
Please don't eat that. Please don't do that. There's a Cuban boa.
That is cool.
Pretty.
Looks like a berm.
It's like an African rock type pattern.
There you go. You're better.
Harpy python body. I love it. I don't think I've ever seen it.
Please don't do it. Please don't drift into that because I know Rob could like plug you in so quickly and so easily, but then I have to deal with that. Like, just stay with the diamonds. Like, I have you here with the diamonds. Just stay with the diamonds.
I'm just good for my diamonds. I see how it is.
Or just send them. If you have Dominicans, just send him some Dominicans. Just when he's done with them, just send them back to you.
You're right. I'll just give you some pair of baby Dominicans. That'll stop you dead cold in this boa thing. Oh, yeah. If I get a litter this year, I'll just give you some. Deal with these monsters.
It's okay to look, man. It's okay to look. There's nothing wrong with taking a peek every once in a while. What's going on and outside of your little circle of things?
The last boa you got was a rainbow boa that was delivered to my house that you never picked up.
That is true. I came to get it, and I was like, I think I'm going to leave this here with you.
Just keep it. I'm like, all right, I guess I'll just do this now. So, yeah.
So I do have a question about, you were talking earlier about fish, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
What have you taken from the hobby of keeping fish and brought into reptiles, if anything?
So, I basically just keep everything a little cooler than what people say. I keep my fish a little cooler. I have Honduran red points that have been spawning like freaking rabbits. And I'm not doing anything major. I just keep that tank a little on the cooler side. The only thing maybe is because it's right by the balcony door, so whatever cold air is coming in. But that's about it. Just generally speaking, fish stuff in regards to comparison with reptile stuff. The reptile stuff is always like behind. It seems to be, and it's not so much like the technology that's out there. It's a lot of it seems to be people's mindsets, and I see this especially with reptiles is one thing, but then snakes is just like an entirely different thing. I just feel like some people are just set in their bows, is set in their ways. They just don't adapt, and it's just some of it's just like, okay, cool, and then just you have the people that just, regardless of what you tell them, they just don't listen.
Right.
So, and these are the newbies that are just learning, because they're just reading something off something that's outdated or something that's not entirely accurate, and it's a vicious cycle. That's how I look at it.
It's hilarious because it's like, well, you guys aren't keeping them in slate bottom glass tanks anymore on like homemade rat. Like, some change is good. Like, and if you embrace that stuff and I kind of like the idea of coming from aquarium, aquatic fish stuff. You kind of pay a little bit more mind into what what the fish are doing. Like you said, like everybody says, keep it cooler, but you said your fish are just spawning like nuts. So you're like, clearly I'm doing something correct. Like, yeah.
I think of like the technology. I think we were talking about it on the last Carpets and Coffee, where maybe it was the one before that, where we were talking about storms being stimulated because of coral won't breed unless, certain life cycles and stuff.
Yeah. I would love to do that, to try to, because maybe that's what white lips need. Maybe there needs to be like a simulated storm that goes on for like a week and a half, and then they're just like, there we go. So, I mean, I don't know.
I thought of white lips, but
look what he's doing to us, Ish. This is not right. He's getting us talking about all these other types of snakes. I see what he does.
I don't do anything.
I just it on people like,
I just dangle them out there, and then I'm like, you know what? White lips are cool. One of these times I'm just going to be talking, and just, Ruffy's just going to cruise across my shoulders. It'll be fine.
Very cool. Okay, so what got you? Oh, go ahead, Owen. Sorry.
Well, so you got with the boas, but you said you didn't really like green tree pythons, and you kind of
they're cool. So again, they were cool. So I was like, okay, fine, because they were smaller. But then eventually, just like digging around and just doing some research, and eventually I just pulled the trigger, and I got myself a mixed blood carpet python from Jeremy Turgeon. And she's just a pet at this point. I'm not doing anything with her. And then I was like, okay, well, this is manageable. What if I get another one? What if I get another one? And,
potato chip syndrome. Yeah. Okay.
Exactly that. And it just worked out really well. Like they're small. They display beautifully. They're not massive. They're not like ball pythons where you look at them the wrong way. They stop eating for a few months. So and they seem to like, the one issue I had with ball pythons versus carpets, I have forced heat here in this condo. So what ends up happening is that I noticed that the ball pythons would have dry sheds, whereas I don't have that issue with the carpet pythons. The one thing I did take with the fish and the snakes, I do not chase my parameters like people do with their fish. Same thing here. I set the thermostat. I'll read temperatures. I listen to the snakes. If I see them avoiding a hotspot, I'm like, okay, what's going on here? Then it's usually they someone knocked over a pro, but it's just like listening to them, not keeping things too hot, and I'm just mean to them. I just shut off the heat at night, and like no one else is getting fed like after this week.
Yeah, so, I sat down and I'm like, oh man, I should bust out the buckets, and thought, wait a minute, is it October? Goodbye, everybody. Like, it is October. Forget it.
It's November.
It's November. Forget it. No one is getting fed. Like it is. Yeah, no, that is not happening, but it's that kind of a thing. So you had the jungles, and then what kind of pulled you into my wonderful coastal territory that I love so much?
That is a good question.
Yeah, because they're not jungle. It's not little Papuan. Is it coastal? Like, how did we get over there?
So my first coastal, I actually ended up getting a Xanthic Jaguar.
Jesus. It's like
the
first one is like, well, if you're going to go big, why not jump into that? Okay.
Yeah, so I got her, and I'm like, okay, I didn't know what I was going to do with her at that point in time, but I remember, seeing a few of them online, seeing how cool they look. Like, okay, cool. I like that. I like that color palette. And then, lo and behold, I end up with the reds. I saw Eric posted some red stuff. Like, ooh, that's pretty. I can breed that to my Xanthic Jaguar. Okay. And that's kind of the slippery slope. I ended up with my first red, my 2020 male. either late 2020 or 2021. I don't remember anymore.
Yeah.
And just slowly but surely just kind of been getting more reds. Every time Eric posts stuff, I'm like, damn it. Okay,
But say Eric
cool,
Hernandez has twisted your arm and he has forced you to buy each and every single one of those. Like you didn't want to do it.
But it gets better. So when I saw he had sent me 3 animals on breeding loan.
Okay.
And just seeing what adult reds look like in person, because you can see all these pictures and it's nothing like actually seeing them in person. Like,
right.
And actually seeing these, I'm like, holy crap. I'm like, okay, cool. I can have a room full of these. Everything else can go. Goodbye. So, and that's basically that. Like I've kept a few jungles, but I do see myself kind of phasing them out.
Okay.
And again, it's like just not everyone is working with them. I don't like to be repetitive. I don't see a lot of people working with reds. Eric, of course, a few people have reds here and there, but I'm like, what can I do that's not repetitive, that's that I can actually stand out in my own little corner? And that's kind of where the reds, that's why I think the reds fit well. And it's just they're so variable. And it's just like, okay, cool, I can work with the same thing and just have 7 different animals that look totally different and just go that route. And that's how that's how it can speak.
And that's a good thing, because it's like that was the reds were always that offshoot child over there that Eric Hernandez has been working on. And to see that ball can still be, there's still room in that playground to kind of play with stuff, to enhance it, to add stuff, to go a different route than other people, to kind of see how that goes. And, if you had told people years ago what the reds were going to turn into and what that project was kind of going to get molded towards, they would have thought you were crazy and tried to breed a jag to it. And so,
well, they did.
They did. Yeah, good point. Excellent point. So, all right. So the idea with the reds is to kind of mix in some Xanax stuff.
That is, yeah. So that's my most anticipated clutch right now. My most anticipated pairing right now is Belmont and Beetlejuice. I would like to make some redhead Xanthics, see what happens. But with Eric's other animals here, I have enough things to keep me busy. I do have a high percentage jungle kicking around here that's got a dash of coastal in it, and I might throw Eric's red jag to her just to see how that interacts. It's a question that I'd like, I've seen it done with Caramel, but yes, her. And
so just
to see what happens.
That's a high percentage jungle coastal cross.
Yes, I believe she's from Steve Katz. I think she's like 93% plus. I forget the exact range. She's in the
highest you can get. Okay. Yeah.
So see, I think that you have a similar idea of what I do, but I'm going to go with the citrus tiger stuff. But I think when you put the red with the jungle or the red with, I'm hoping with the citrus tiger, I think it's going to remember those crazy Wilbird red jungle things.
I do. I saw them in person.
Look like. Yes.
Okay.
I think that's what it's going to look like. I hope that's what it looks like. That's very cool.
And I've seen it. I think there was a caramel jungle that Ben Frame had posted a while back, and it kind of, not the same thing, but it kind of reminds me of that. But and that was another reason, taking the reds up a notch, is why I decided, the caramel that's here has to get the boot, because I don't want to have both of them. And I don't want that question of, you have red and caramel. How can you know which is which? You know how people get. So I'm like, okay, you go out now.
You become a psychopath like me, and you have these two streams that must never cross. Like I have all my reds, and they're over here, and I have all my caramel, and they're over here, and there are these two really good looking animals, and I'm like, ooh, no. Well, I'm not holding back an entire goddamn clutch. Like, no, okay. So, but that I can see. Like, what is it? Mike Curtin had a ocelot caramel that kind of had that yellow, like a lot of yellow. But then the caramel kind of bled in through in certain areas. So I was that was always what I would kind of feel like a jungle red jag would kind of lean towards,
I don't know. I guess we'll see. Either. I hope you hit it this year. So
I don't want to do it. Somebody else has got it. Yeah.
Are there any other genes that you want to cross into the red? Is there any other thing?
Not with the red. So I do have tiger stuff. don't want to cross that. I might do it once to see, just for shits and giggles, but it's not something that I'm focused on, but I wouldn't keep anything from that clutch. But ideally, I wouldn't. My Tiger stuff is kept very separate. It's because I don't want to work with that polygenic. It's probably going to upset someone. I don't want to work with that polygenic gene and work with another polygenic. There's too many variables there because, so I don't want to do that. So the idea with the Tigers that they'll keep me busy when I'm not breeding Reds, or if I take a break from the Reds 1 year, and okay, cool, I'll breed these guys because I'm not planning on breeding a lot of these guys, and I'm going to use this breeding season as just to see what happens. And if I see that by this time next year I have stuff kicking around, I'm probably not going to breed anything, because the idea is to not overproduce. And what's the point of doing that if I still have animals from the previous season?
100%. There is no reason to then the bucket's not empty, dump more in, because I've made that mistake. So now.
So have I.
Yeah.
If you're a breeder, do you think that you have to stay focused on, meaning that there's going to be downturn and upturn, and the market is cyclical and all that kind of stuff? Do you think that if you're working on a project that you're going to just keep pushing ahead, even though you may have a hard time selling?
It's my project. I'm not breeding it from anyone else. I'm breeding it for myself.
Exactly.
If someone else wants something, okay, cool. But I'm bringing
I want to do this. I don't care what you want. The stuff that I have with the breeding loan with Eric, half those clutches go to him, and that's one less thing to have to deal with. But whatever stays here is probably, I'm probably going to burp those clutches for a while. I'll hold on to them for about a year.
Right.
Maybe I'll let this one go. Maybe. We'll see. We'll see how my mood is.
You're gonna be like Eric and just post up the picture of the crazy one, and then be like, "Oh, I have a couple more from this. If anybody's interested."
But that's the fun thing too, because then you're like, you know what, and I'm going to give you this red. You give me that red that you produce, because I can see potential in that, and I'll plug it in over here. Or I'll give you this. You go off of that. So it's that kind of thing of that you can kind of have your core focus. But then on off years, you could be like, this year's a Tiger year. Fuck it, Tigers everywhere. It's like, look at them all. And that's the thing. You can kind of have that where he's not producing awesome red clutches year after year after year, where he gets so flooded up with babies that he has to make a bad decision and sell one he really didn't want to sell. See?
Yeah, no.
See?
No.
It's
and
good
I've seen Eric has posted stuff, and I'm like, I look at that male, and he's like, you don't need any more males. Like, yeah, but that one's pretty.
But I don't have that one.
Exactly. So,
but at least you're staying within the same, your group. It's a group that's, it's not one of those Noah's Ark thing where you have two of this, two of that, two of that, two of this, two of that.
And there's also something to be said about, I enjoy, if I do have to let it go and it's really good looking, I like knowing where it is. If I let it go and you took it or Eric took it or somebody be like, all right, if I need it, it's there. If I need something, it's over there. And I can be like, hey, if this thing produces something like this, just let me know. And it's like, yeah. So I prefer to know where it's at.
Yeah, and I'm kind of thinking that way with a pair of jungles after this year. Okay, they might get sent off to someone. Okay, just hold on to them for a while. Just enjoy them. But I don't want them to disappear, just in case. But and then of course, the Puerto Rican boas that keep me busy. That will really keep me busy once they start breeding, because the whole thing with getting them switched from a nose to rodents and that lovely joy that I have to endure because they're from my island and I have to love them no matter what.
Do you? So. Is there going to be a certain point where you're I don't care if you're from home, you go to hell.
Well, I've said a few times, I have my female from Rob. She's a little feisty, but the time she's nailed, I'm like, this is why you guys are not this popular. This is why no one likes you guys.
You guys would be so much more popular if you weren't such an asshole. Yeah.
I think they're the true snake lovers snake is the West
Yes.
Indian boas complex, right? Because they have these like little, let's say, minor quirks to them that, you know, people could turn off by them. But the idea that you have to give them away, you know, is kind of like, you know, I don't know. It just really shows that you're not in this for money. It's not it's not a monetary thing. It's this species means something to you. So to me, that's why I really like that complex and the people that work with those snakes, because I think it's really a labor of love.
Which are the ones that Rob has to mimic a sleeping lizard to get it to eat?
Oh, that's the island boas.
They can go directly to hell.
Yeah, they're not they're not what.
Never. I know.
Why am I drawing a name blank on the name?
Oh, he'll message us later. He'll send us a picture of the notes that he took during the podcast. Underlined like 4-time idiot. Like, yeah.
Rob will take notes of the show, right? And he's sort of like my he's kind of like a producer in a way, right?
Very much so at this point. Yeah.
What he'll do is he'll say, oh, you know, this came across this way. What is Owen talking about? What are you talking about? What's the guest talking about? Like, what are you doing? Why didn't you ask him this question when it came up? You know, those kind of things. So it's like we have a probably once a week, like a decompression meeting.
Have we gotten any better? Like, do we take his notes and do anything?
He heard you guys like a border collie. He keeps you guys.
He heard us where we need to go. Otherwise, we dumb sheep would walk right off the cliff. Like, I get it.
Yeah. So I how many Reds do you have? What's the total group?
Oof. So right now, I think I'm at 14.
14?
No. I still know how many I have. It hasn't gotten to that point yet.
14.
No, but with the Reds, it's 14. Yeah, the 14, but that's including everyone, including the 3 that are on breeding loan. So minus the 3, like that's what's here. And that was like including that red tiger, the red tiger jag that I got from you at Carpet Fest.
Okay. You're still double digits in one particular carpet type. Which
I find that impressive, to be honest.
Yeah, I would say that I don't think I'm even at that with something like caramel that I've been doing for years. So,
well, I guess the idea is that everyone that grows, like sometimes, you know, as variable as carpets are, sometimes they grow and sometimes they're not. They might look one way as a baby, but as they get older, like, okay, maybe I don't need this one. Or sometimes, like, I do. The way my brain works, I do have backups in case something happens. I'm a little and I think it comes with my line of work. I'm just very strict on with biosecurity. You know, God forbid I lose something to a virus, not throwing it out. You know, it's like, okay, like what do I have? So I don't want it. So the idea is, and I do screen for that regularly just for my own peace of mind. But the idea is that everything that's raised is probably, sure, they'll stay. If they stay, great. If, you know, not everyone's going to go every year. And there might be 1 or 2 that just like, you know what? Okay, maybe I won't hold on to, maybe I won't use you, but maybe I'll just keep you as a pet or, you know, whatever. Or if there's something, or, you know, if someone needs a certain animal, if they're working with the same project, needs a certain animal, okay, cool. I'll send one off to in that direction and just hold on to it for now. But that was just how I looked at it. And that's part of the reason why, as the more Reds I get, the more other things kind of get the boots. And it's just, I don't know. I think it's just a good sample size for me. Just it's enough to keep me busy, and it's enough for, you know, to not push certain animals over the, you know, push them constantly with the breeding, because I would like to maternally incubate. Well, let them maternally incubate, and, you know, kind of give them, not push them consecutively, like maybe 2 years if I see that they're cycling, but try to prevent it the third. I say try to prevent it because I feel like once they get dialed in, they just don't stop.
Yeah, they're going to ovulate with it. It's like I think I've tried to not breed or double clutch my corn snakes like every year. And it's like all of a sudden she just has eggs and like, great, cool, thanks. I didn't want these. You needed a year off, but okay. Oh, good, you doubled. Okay, good. You look horrible. So it's
It's probably why I kicked out my colubrids.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can keep them.
The other thing I like about having a group like 14 is it does also give you the ability to like mix and match. Because sometimes you can sit there and be like, these animals are going to go together and they're going to produce something awesome. And they do. But then you're like, all right, well, this year she's off and let's take you over here. And holy crap, what the hell is that? Like, it's like that happens where something hatches out and it does give you that kind of experimentation to kind of jump between, but you're not taking your super caramel jaguar to a diamond. Like you're not jumping over there. It's so
I think that might upset a lot of diamond people. I mean, I like diamond coastal integrates, but I feel like that might upset a lot of the diamond people.
It might upset a lot of people, period. But your animals do whatever. Just don't expect other people to love them. Yeah.
The diamond python world of the Morelia world is a whole other. That's a whole other world.
Right. This is how I'll bring the entire Morelia community together when I breed a battle chondro to a
diamond
scream jag, like just together, and I'll have it all, and I'll call it the carpet book is what the name of the morph will be, because they'll all be in there. Yeah,
all in there.
Yep.
So. What is your end goal? Do you have an end goal when it comes to reds? Are you trying to intensify the color as adults? Is there something you're looking for in the Xanic?
Yeah.
So, no, the idea. Well, that's also a hard question. I don't know that exact answer myself.
Okay.
It's basically to see how. So I'm going to use Katara, Eric's old school MBB girl. So I like that look. I like it's just to see, there's different flavors with it. It's just I'm not trying to intensify it, but I am trying to have a little bit of a dorsal stripe in it, but without throwing tiger in there. So like that that picture that you posted before, something like that with the portholes on the side. I don't know if that's what people call them, but I kind of like that look. I don't want it to be totally striped, almost like barbed wire. So I like that look with that color. It just kind of, anything that's kind of like that grayish khaki type of thing. I just like that color. It just,
yeah, me too. I like
hard
that.
to explain. It's just like, my room if my room was just filled with those things, I'd be totally
happy. Okay, good.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. See, I'm with you, Ish. When I do like so like on this animal in particular, sort of has what I call the zipper stripe, right? So it's got that one on, but there's so much base pattern or so much base color in the sides because you only have those little tiny, we'll call them portals. Some people call them aliens, whatever you want to call them. I guess, but
I like portals better, but yeah.
Aliens are too BP for you. Ball python.
It's too stupid.
Alien head.
Yeah, hey, you're right. Alien is too ball python because it's alien head. Shut up. Yeah.
He's not an angry guy,
I'm not. I'm very much just a teddy bear. So
I think that's why I like the coastal diamonds as well, because it has that, but then the coastal diamond adds that element of fish netting into it, in that base pattern, which outlines the scales in black. Yeah. So anyway, that's cool, man. Okay. That's not a bad way to go. I remember Balin when he was doing it. I'm sure he's still doing reds when he was doing it. Like I'm talking like he doesn't do it. I think his goal, he produced that one that looked albino looking, and he wanted to try to continue to make animals that look like that, and went into adulthood like that. How did he make out with that, Owen? Did he?
I'm not sure what he's been doing, honestly, when it comes to the reds. I know he's produced them every once in a while, but he kind of has been dialing it back a little bit the last couple of years. I know he moved and he had to kind of adjust to his new place. I think when I talked to him this past year, he's getting ready to really kind of hit it hard. But also, Jason does this. He got distracted by the hypo stuff. So I know he was working on the red, and he probably, knowing him, is 100% still working with them, but they're not his like upfront ones. Those seems to be the hypos right now. So what he's gonna do in like a year or two, he's gonna be like, oh yeah, and I got these red things over here, and it's gonna be like, Jesus fucking Christ, it's like these bright red things. Like, why the hell haven't you told us about that? Oh yeah, I got like 6 of those. Like, and that's that's what that's going to be. So at least I hope, because I would like him to continue that. I know he got to his thing was trying to keep the red into adulthood, because they would come out and his would look spectacular, but they would kind of fall off into that grayish area as they got a little bit older. And he started kind of like extending that, where certain ones kept more red color for longer and got brighter and other stuff like that. So that was his thing, was just trying to work on that and try to continue that. So I don't know what he's doing with that. I'll have to ask him when I see him next.
Eric nailed it, man. I don't know if that was his vision. I don't know if he had like an idea that these animals were going to turn up, but whatever his original breeding stock was, like he just knocked it out of the park. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Ish. Go ahead.
No, that's fine. And that's why I got my reds from him. It's just like, you know, it's not to sound snobbish or anything like that, but it's like, okay, this is what, you know, you can only build upon from that. So it's like, you know, and if I can have reds that don't kind of gray out by the age of 4 or 5 or whatever, then okay, cool. If they do, then that's cool. But, you know, but even there's this one girl that I have from him. She's just an absolute firecracker, Fuego. She's maintained some of her color. She's a little gray, but, you know, but she's just an absolute freaking psycho. Like she does not turn off. Like Eric warned me about her, and she just like tried to nail me every time she gets. She can be totally fine, and she does that thing like a Wilma where she's on you, and then she just did it kind of like, I'm gonna bite into you. Yeah. So she's.
It's funny that I have a. She's regular coastal that came from his original stuff. It was one of his. I think she was one of his holdbacks for a while. She is the meanest carpet I've ever had in my entire life. Every time I try to take that snake out, feed the snake, anything I do, it wants to kill me and bite me. Yeah.
I have an animal like that from Billy Hunt, and it's funny because Billy is so chill, and like this animal is just like. This animal needs an exorcism, and he's warned me. And I don't have good pictures of this animal because he's constantly trying to bite. Yeah,
yeah,
but it's fine. I don't need them to be tame. They're snakes. They're allowed to behave that way.
Yeah,
there are some animals that I actively like. It's time to clean you. I'm going to open the doors of your cage, and I'm going to stand here, and I'm going to wait. And then when you throw your entire body out of your cage with your mouth wide open is when 2 hooks in the bin. Like, I'm not going to reach in there because I've done that and I've gotten lit up. I'm going to wait. I'll sit here and I will wait for you to come to me. And then that's it. And it's my water python. She is God, I hate her. Yeah. Like, I just want them to breed so I can be like, I've done it. Get out, like get out of the house. And the problem is that she's such a bitch. It's like every time I put my mail in there and I'm like, good luck, buddy. Hopefully you make it. Yeah.
Oh, that's, yeah, I'm not sure how, that's why I wouldn't deal with something like a Apodora. It's like,
I haven't done that.
No,
they're on my list, but I'd be nervous as hell. I'd be up against the glass. Like, just don't hurt each other.
It's like Ryan's animal that he posted a while back. She got like one of them got lit up pretty bad. I'm like, oh no, it just doesn't have something for that long. You raise it, and then it's like you go check on it. Wait, where are you?
Well,
crap!
That's the funny thing is that they were together, and everything was fine, for a couple days, which scares me worse. I want an immediate reaction so I can be there to pull you out. Don't do this shit where I'm like, I can go to the grocery store now. You guys are fine. No, do it immediately. And he got tore up, but he survived. And I believe he ate a week later. Like, it's good. Again, I don't understand. Like, some snakes are like, I have one eye, I'm slit down the middle, I'll eat that rat. And then there are other ones who are like, it is not the right temperature nor color, get it out of here. It's like, I don't.
It's kind of crazy.
I don't get the whole snake, the rodent color thing, but
I don't know either. It's just I have so many weird. I fed most of my rough scales are eating birds right now, the babies, which is just like, here's bird. So it's a lot of this stuff with this kind of food and people are always asking me, because the olive pythons usually start on quail too. They're worried about things getting stuck on stuff. Have you ever had an animal that was like stuck on a food item?
Not on a food item, no. And I feed poultry very heavily. Like I do vary diet, but when I'm not cycle feeding in the summertime, I can be upwards of 80% poultry. I feel like the rats just get them fat, especially if I'm not planning on breeding the animal. I don't want them getting fat. If you look at how fat these rodents are, especially if you look like an old male rat, and it's like, lab animal setting, you see how fat they get. Like, I don't want, the animal eats that, they're going to get fat. Like, I don't want to feed that to them. So I just feed them poultry. Like, people are like, oh, but they're small. Like, they're not massive snakes to begin with. And I can always get them to eat rats. So like, it's not an issue. It's like, and I'm probably not going to give the males anything larger than a small rat anyway, because I don't want them to be fat and lazy.
Right. 100%.
It's like,
It's when you see that reaction. So like I'm hitting a baby olive python in the head with this hopper mouse, and it just does not want it. Like you peek the beak of the quail just over the tub, and this green blur is just out, like grabbing it, ripping it out of your hands. It's like, okay, we found what you want to eat. Like, that's fine. I'm fine with that. So it's just that it seems a lot of animals, it's almost more natural to lean towards lizard, frog, bird, fish, stuff like that. And then by forcing them onto rodent, we're kind of getting them, like you said, if they're not breeding every year, the fat deposits just kind of rack right up. So,
yeah, and I think like some of these bigger guys, it's like, for example, I'm just going to use Puerto Rican boas for an example. It's like you'll see the bigger guys kind of eating rodents that are, near human homes, but when they're small, like they're not eating, and it's just, I don't know. I think sometimes I get the convenience with feeding rodents, but again, with the poultry, it's relatively easy to get. So I just don't worry about it that much.
Do you do like chicks, like whole prey bird?
I do whole prey.
Okay.
I do whole prey. I do feed a couple, like for the bigger guys, I do feed the occasional drumstick, wing here. The first time I fed a drumstick, it was very unnerving.
Yes.
It's like,
it is.
Oh, I fed it to my diamond, and I saw, I'm like, oh, you're still working on it. Oh, crap. What the hell is okay? And then I'll come back like an hour and a half later. I'm like, I'm going to go walk the dogs on purpose. I'll be back. I hope you're not dead. And I go, and she's actually fine. She's in her basking spot. I'm like, okay, cool.
And you don't see him for a month. Yeah.
Yeah. And it seems like after that first time they get that, they seem to work around it much easier. That's just been my observation.
Yeah, so, everybody has that one dumb python that tries to eat the rat sideways through it, like at its stomach, okay? They don't tend to do that again. They do it the one time. They're like, that took a really long time and was stupid. Like, then maybe they'll take it backwards, but they usually tend to not try to eat it sideways again. So for large things like larger birds and stuff like that, there is a learning curve. I had a new pair of Cali Kings, and I gave them chicken necks, and it took them a little bit because they bit them. And then you could kind of see the wheels turning of what the hell is in my goddamn mouth, because this isn't the normal mouse thing. And they both ate them, but it took them a little bit. They literally sat there with it, and they're like, I guess, all right. And they'll just kind of chewed it down. So you kind of have that with some animals.
Yeah, I mean, and some animals, they figure it out, hopefully. Yeah. Sometimes I think they kind of do dumb things, but,
I was, when I was looking through your stuff, I saw you had a post about your quarantine protocol. And I was like, oh, that's pretty impressive to your whole thing. So, like, can you just give us a rundown of like, what you do and why?
Yeah. So what I do is every time something comes in, regardless of where this animal is coming from, they get swabbed. So when I swab them with the Morelia, I'm basically focusing on nidovirus or serpentovirus, whatever you want to call it. So that gets sent out. It either gets sent out to Fish Head Diagnostics or research associate laboratories. Either one. I've used both. The idea is that if they're stressed out during shipping, if something is going to happen, they're going to test positive for it at that time.
Right.
If they test negative, okay, cool. I treat it as a snapshot. I almost treat it like I would with feline coronavirus. Like some cats, like they just kind of have, they'll be negative, but then they'll turn up positive after a stressful event. It's a weird thing with cats. So I just kind of treat it that way, where it's like, if they're negative, great. I treat it as a snapshot in that time, and knock on wood, haven't had any issues with it. But it's just also realistically, it's like, okay, it's just understanding the limitations with the tests. Like, it's whatever threshold it's picking up. I'm probably going to upset someone. Whatever threshold it's either going to pick it up or it's not. And that's why I've tried both of them. But it might seem like overkill, but it helps me sleep at night. And then with the main collection, I'll just randomly test like 10% of the collection at 3 to 4 month intervals. I'm still trying to work out what I want to do with the winter, because I don't really want to stress them out by swabbing them, or at least maybe foregoing the breeding animals. I'm still kind of figuring that out. So I'm in the process of just kind of doing that. But I started out doing every 3 months. This is very common that they do with something like with lab mice, with sentinel stuff. So if something turns up positive, they can kind of isolate that. And it's just been a mentality that I've, and it works. It seems to, I'll deworm someone if someone looks like they need it. But other than that, that's just pretty much swab them again before they get released into the collection, and then just test them after that. With the mite stuff, of course, I was team frontline before it got discontinued, because everyone just moved over to topicals. So now I'll treat them with a natural mite spray that I forget who makes it, but I'll use
or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. I'll use that. I will use like the, what is it? I think Rid, but I will air dry the crap out of that tub for like a day or two before I put an animal in there. But I know a lot of people don't like it. I know a lot of people like, oh, my animal died. You do need really good ventilation for that. That's why I'll let it air out. And even then, I'll still sometimes shy away from that, depending. Now, if I'm going to a show, when I come home, I'm spraying myself in that, and my clothes go right into that dryer. I don't want it to just might give me I don't do insects. They just, nah. Yeah. That's why I never got into monitors. But that's just what I've done. And then with the boas, I've kind of swabbed them. Same thing with arenavirus, but I don't know how accurate that test is, just based on. Yeah. So.
Yeah, is that becoming more of a norm? I don't know. Is it? Did you see more people doing that type of, quarantine procedure as,
I mean, I would like to see it happen. And I think definitely it's one of those things that we can tell you till we're blue in the face that you should quarantine no matter where it comes from. And you should do this. And I think some people are going to take it to heart and actually do it, but other people need to learn the hard lesson. And you have to be on all fours scrubbing your cages full of mites, or you need to have some kind of a problem before you actually start listening, which is bad. It shouldn't be that way, but yeah.
People unbox in their reptile rooms.
Yeah.
Dude, was it Riley showed us that one time that the cricket larva lives in the box? Like, he was unboxing crickets, and then he took the box and he put it in a bin, and he's like, I'll go back in like 3 days and there'll be baby crickets in there because they'll come out of the corrugated cardboard. So he's like, so even if the snake is clean, even if the box is clean, even if the bag is clean, like, there could be mites in the box, and people are bringing it into their snake room to do an unboxing video. None of it is safe. I don't keep boxes anymore. I just huck them.
Yeah. What is it about? It's sort of to the point you said earlier, Ish, was the whole idea of like snakes in the reptile hobby seem to be like pushing and kicking and screaming going into this new
to the new century,
generation of keepers, if you will. And it's just things like that. Like it's just simple stuff. Like you like this is something that's going to prevent you from having issues down the line. Why wouldn't you want to do this? And it's like, that's bullshit. Blah, 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 blah. Let me open up the box in my room.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, with fish stuff, like I know it's very common with fish people to not quarantine fish. They just dump the thing right into the new tank.
Okay.
It happens a lot. I've seen it happen so many times, and I think I would understand if people keeping reptiles kind of veered from that aspect. That I would at least understand. But with the whole reptile thing, I don't know why. Or there's people that just quarantine it for a month, or people are, it came from the same source. I don't need to quarantine it. Yeah, you do actually. I don't know what is it. And again, it's just like I've always been on the mindset like I'd rather, an ounce of prevention is better than a pound of cure. I'd rather not backpedal and try to like, what the heck happened here? So and again, like I've had mites years ago, my ball python days, where I just ended up in the quarantine rack, and that was enough. Like, this is why we quarantine. This is why we quarantine away from everything else. It's like,
right.
I'm like,
It's like the guys on Project Herpetoculture talk about this a lot, where they talk about reptile keeping as a discipline rather than as a hobby. When you say it in that way, as a discipline, it becomes easier to accept things like quarantine, making sure that the water is, full, or changing it out, more frequently, disciplines, I don't know. When you say it's like a hobby, to me, at least to me, it feels like, if I do it, I do it. If I don't, I don't. It's just something that I do, in my spare time type of thing. I don't know.
Well, I definitely treat it like a discipline, because they need to care. Like, you have to do it. And it's like, it's a hobby, but you need to do it. Like, if you're sick, last summer I had an issue with cellulitis, so I couldn't walk on my leg for like 4 days, and I still had to get my butt into that snake room. I still had to handle it. Like, okay, like these guys need it. Like,
those are my favorite.
I'll fall on the rack.
Those are my favorite.
Make sure I don't fall on the cage.
When you have like the flu and you're in your snake room and it's like 80 degrees and you have a blanket over you and you're just like slowly doing each bin as you rattle your way across. It takes you all day, and then you're like finished, fall down on the floor. It's like that. Yeah. There's no one coming behind you, so this is all on you. But I do feel that we are seeing a push to properly quarantine and kind of at least do something, because I remember back in the days of MP, they'd be like, oh man, I just drove and I got this male chondro to pair with my girls, and look at him, been here an hour and he's already locked up with her. It's like, Jesus Christ. Wait a minute. Would you even dare to say that the whole, it's funny, right? I think it was maybe the first Carpet Fest, the very first one. Yeah. There was more Green Tree people there, and they were just like flip-flopping animals, and like they were like, do you need her for this year? You got her. It's like, Jesus. Yeah. And they couldn't figure out why.
You let people trade your animals during the first Carpet Fest?
No, they didn't have the animals with them, but they were making making the deals. They were doing the breeding there. Oh yeah.
There was a guy who had like the most amazing chondros, but he didn't breed them at all. He just sort of sent them out to certain people, right? He was like, he was I think he was a dentist or something like that, but he had tons of money, and he was sort of just like buying up these beautiful chondros, and then he was, okay, I'm sending this one to that, this one here, this one here, this one here. But little did he know that that's sort of like, I would say, where Nido started to spike up, because they were just sort of just like, oh, why did the chondro die? And it was like, I think in the back of my head, and you tell me what you guys think of this idea. It's like, I think in the back of my head, and I look back on that, right? You learn from the past, right? So you don't repeat the past, you learn the past, and you try to take something away from it so that you can change it into the future. But remember, and you've heard this, that's just a chondro being a chondro. Sometimes they just die.
Oh,
right?
man.
So, like,
yeah.
there's actually something going on there. It's not magic. It's not voodoo. It's not like, the Ouija board said the conjurer is going to die tomorrow. It's actually something is going on. And this is sort of my thing with as of late with the whole idea of like, oh, my female slugged out. Well, why did she slug out? I mean, obviously, you might not be able to answer that question, but just the idea is just like, that's just a carpet being a carpet. I don't know. No, anymore, right?
It is supposed to make viable eggs. That is its purpose. That's what happens.
You know what I'm saying? Even I think even we've been guilty of this as well.
I know.
It's just like, well, that just
you got to chalk it up to some of it is like, it happens. And I've kind of do the, it happens. Is this more of the, it's a gut punch, but I'm not going to sit here and pick it apart because I'll lose my fucking mind. But
how do you? But you're right. How do you change?
Right.
The problem.
What do you do?
It's sort of like okay, I'm looking at myself. I gained weight. How do I not gain weight? I eat less and exercise. There's no magic to it. It's just figuring out what the problem is, looking at the problem, and then trying to fix what the issue, fix
what I'm saying is we don't all have to get up at 4 a.m. and go running for some reason.
I don't like,
in all fairness, Eric, I'm with you because I'm up at 4 in the morning too.
What the hell is wrong with the two of you?
4 a.m. person, yes.
Is this why I send you messages and you reply at 4 in the morning? You're like, you know what Owen's doing right now? Send. Like, it's... God damn it.
I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on that, Ish? Do you have any thoughts on, like, am I wrong? Am I off base? Do you think...
No, I think what happens, and to the point, like when people, example, if someone has an animal that slugs out, I think sometimes they make too many changes at once.
Right.
Like, oh my God, it was this. Like, wait, stop. Like, why? Maybe stop and think about it. Like, why did this animal slug out? Maybe,
yes.
maybe could, like, for example,
maybe it's
last
not even
winter was torn.
Maybe
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, I would say, if it happens consistently with the same animals, like maybe switch them around or, but then maybe dissect it. But also, I mean, with breeding animals, I just feel like most people just need to get them a little bit cooler than what they're really getting them. Just keep an eye on things, make sure no one's blowing bubbles at the nose, if anything, but just make sure they warm up the next morning. But don't be afraid to unplug just shut off that thermostat. Or if it's not getting cold enough in the room, just open up the window a little bit. Let that thermometer drop down to 68, 70. So, I don't think we're doing any real favors for these animals, like keeping them warm constantly.
I think Ryan Dumas brought this up to me, and he said that, and he made a good point, right? He says that when I say like carpets are bulletproof, it's sort of, which they are, but I think that comes across wrong to like, if there's certain people listening to that, it's almost like this snake is going to accept less care. You know what I mean? It's like you're sort of already setting it up that it's like, okay, if you have a green tree, you have to give it this level of care. You have to give it a 9, right? There's no room for error or anything. But if you have a carpet, it's like at a 3, and they can accept everything you can throw at them. Temperatures, the light bulb went out, it doesn't have a place to vent, it doesn't have humidity, it didn't eat for a month, it didn't, whatever it is, it's still going to shed fine, it's still going to do the things. But I don't know. I just feel like sometimes we I don't even know where I was going with that, other than the idea that, it's hard with a snake that's so resilient. Yeah. To sort of see if there's an underlying issue. For instance, and again, this is just an example. I use like slugs out because it's just an easy one for people to grasp onto. But I'm with you, like the whole thing about changing stuff immediately. It's like the other problem I see on the opposite side of it is where it's like, oh, they didn't breed this year, and then they change all their parameters, right? Rather than trying to stick to the cycle, whatever the cycle would be, temperature, lighting, humidity, storms, whatever the case would be. But it's like, people are like, oh, that didn't work, I'm going to change it. So the snake never gets into a rhythm. That rhythm, but is it supplementation something that we should think about is, you know, and I know the whole argument of the whole prey and all this stuff, and I get that, but like if you're having issues, should a female get, you know, calcium when she's about to lay a clutch to help her with the eggs? You know what I mean? I don't know.
There's a lot of stuff that can kind of go with that. And you're right. It's like we do as reptile people, especially snake people, is it's like, didn't work. Well, I'll fuck with the thermostat and I'll call it good. If it didn't work after that, I'm out of ideas. It's
right.
There is kind of a thing where we don't know really how far to push it. And we kind of always seem to go the easier route. You always sell that animal or you let that thing go, or you do this, you kind of quit on that. I have a het axanthic female that has been driving me up a wall because I've seen her lock up with multiple males, but she never lays eggs. This year, I'm going to put a proven male in with her, and I expect nothing from it because I don't want anything from it because she has rebuffed all my axanthic animals. At this point, I'm putting in my caramel jag that'll breed a piece of rope, like just to try to figure out, does she go early? Does she go late? Have I been missing the window? What's going on? He's going to live in there with her from probably next month till God knows when. So That's the whole thing there. It's like, and that's my Jello at the wall. I'm out of ideas. This is it. This is all I got. So
the way I've handled that, like for example, I'll have my room. So I have the lighting kind of program to go on and off with sunlight and sunrise and sunset. So I just do that. Same thing with the thermostats. So they do have the light cycle in there. That room does get a little colder. Things like that. I did have my office and the snake room switched around at one point, and they seem to not like that change. I felt like this room does get a little too warm sometimes, but it's weird because when I crack open a window for the diamond, I can drop everything down to like 52, 53. And while I'm shivering, the diamond's fine. So I'm just like, whatever. But that's just my approach to things. It's just like, okay, it's just kind of taking what's been said over the past several years. And like, okay, out of like these 7 things that you need to get these animals to breed, if you hit on a few of them, what can you do? And I've just been like, just basically starting them off that way. So that way, by the time they're of breeding age, like, oh, okay, I know what time of year it is. Okay, let me do, the nighttime is longer. Okay, so that means this is going to happen. So versus like trying to control everything. That's just been my approach to it. I'm sure everyone does it differently, but it seems to work for me.
Yeah. I think I like the idea of establishing whatever the cycle is.
Right. And then just
I think that where I screwed up early on is like I had this idea that baby snakes and young snakes you're growing up, are somehow more delicate, and you can't not feed them. Oh my God, you can't, you have to make sure that they're always at the perfect temperature. The humidity can't be off, all these things where I don't follow that at all. When I think maybe that's why they're, I don't see that many issues with things because they've already, it's the cycle. This is it. This is what happens. It happens every year since I've lived in this house. And they've just adapted to that cycle to the point where it's almost like you can see it already because the temperature dropped. I go into my room and I see male starting to do the up the side of the top thing. And I'm like,
my male olive python wants out bad. And I'm like, it's not time for you yet. So
these males are pacing already.
Which I hear we're getting like a bunch of polar like fronts and things coming in where it's going to be cold as hell this winter. And I'm like, okay, all right.
Snow.
And I'm not breeding this year. God damn it. Like it's snow. So
have you guys found that you have become a fan of the fall and winter because of snakes? Because I used to hate the winter
for multiple reasons. So
I freaking hated the cold one.
And now it's like, woohoo! It's fall.
I dislike winter mainly because of snow and everything that comes with that. But
listen to you, man, who works at home and never leaves his.
This is my prison.
You're really complaining about snow to me right now.
Shut up.
Okay.
Anyway, the thing is that when we get into like fall and winter and all the bugs die, I'm like, God damn, yes. Like, I want to go outside and not have to hear like something trying to climb into my ear to make a home. Like, you know, yeah.
Snow. The only thing dislike is the rock salt with the snow. And that's because I have dogs. Like, all right, what's up with this? Like, all right, let's clean that. So
right. What about what about the diamonds? Like, what's going on with the diamonds?
There?
What's your project? What's you doing?
So right now, I do have 1.1. So I did get one. My female is actually from Martin Roseman, but she was not produced by him. I believe she was actually produced by Andy Watson. She's a San Diego Zoo. What the heck? San Diego Zoo, something else, and Cypress Creek. Oh, no, Cypress Creek.
No.
So, yeah. I don't care. It's just like, whatever. It's
useless.
Yeah. So, and then I recently got a male in a trade that was actually produced by Buddy Buscemi, who's similar. Yeah. So, but he's just 2 years old and she's only 4. So it's going to be several years for them. Over time, I'm not against throwing the male to the Reds. We'll see. I don't know.
What the hell was just said here?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
They integrate in the wild. What are you talking about, Alan?
Shut up. Jesus.
But at least I'm not making Carpondros.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, they're integrated. Yes. It happens.
Oh, God. Yeah. God.
Wait, you'll bring a battle chondro to a gamma jag, but you won't.
I'm sorry. A battle chondro to a scream jag, sir.
Oh, okay.
No, you have to get them all.
Worse yet.
The only way. Yeah.
I didn't realize Scream had Brettles in it until like fairly recently.
Yeah, see?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I did not know. I was like, why is it called a Scream? And I'm like, oh, wait.
Because you look at all the ingredients and you kind of
I'm like, oh, yeah. I'm like, why? I mean, I have nothing against, but like, why? I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, these are just snakes in boxes. They're not going to repopulate anything, but it's like, I don't know.
I don't know how, but somehow I drifted onto some Facebook group that was all hybridization of reptiles, and I was just reading every single post.
Purpose?
And it's like, I don't know. I don't know. Self-punishment. I don't know. Like it was, and I go on there, and most of it is just people going, "Has anybody ever crossed this?" And if someone goes, "No," they're like, "And that's my project." It's like, what?
Yeah, I think that's what bothers me about the hybrid breeding of the hobby, right? It's not the fact that you're doing it, it's why you're doing it.
Right.
It's like feel that like there's a certain person, right? There's a certain person that they feel that they need some kind of like, how am I going to stand out in this hobby, right? It's like, oh, I'm gonna, you know, it's almost like the Howard Stern way of breeding, right? I'm just going to shock everybody.
I'm going to be the guy that bred a Borneo green tree python.
They're going to be talking about me. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's that kind of mindset. I don't know.
Yeah, but not just because someone's talking about you doesn't mean it's saying it's good.
Well, yeah, because who sits there and looks at these two animals again? Like I saw someone was actively attempting to breed a Borneo with a green tree python.
Yeah, wait, it was weird,
it was real. It was real.
I have that picture somewhere. I'll have to find it.
And it was like I'm trying to do this, and it's just like. Why? Because no. Why? What made you look at this animal and say, I want this aspect of this animal on this animal? And which one went which way? I want a solid green Borneo that can kind of sit in a tree, or I want a multicolored fat chondro that can't quite get up there. Like, I don't. Where? Yeah. Where's the connection?
It's like they went to the opposites of the snake world. It's like completely on the extremes.
The weirdest thing I've seen was the ball python chondro hybrid. I'm like, why? But at least a carpet, like Carpondro, I can get that. Cause at least, like, okay, they're kind of, I can get
it's
that.
Close. Yeah.
It's close. Like, okay, a Carpondro is pretty, but does it appeal to me? No. But then it's like, okay, ball python is a Why? Like, what's the point?
Yeah,
I don't know.
You almost want to scream at him. You don't have enough morphs that you need to like breed it to something else. Like,
Well, and it's also bad enough because they were talking
out
about
of the 750 different morphs that are there to like come up with a new combination. Or like,
but then there's also the rare stuff. Like I think somebody on there was talking about breeding like a Sonoran to a Sanzinia or something like that, and it's just like you're going to spend the money to get a Sanzinia to do like shit with it. Like I don't like why, but I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I can't really talk. I did it for a while where I didn't hybridize, but I guess I did.
Listen, I bred my ring python to my black-faced white lip, and I didn't tell any of you.
How did it turn out?
Now you don't know. Now you don't know what's going on over here.
Is it a ring python with white lips or what?
Yeah, it's weird. It's because that's how they always picture it's going to go, right? Like it'll be a ring python with white lips. Instead, it'll just be this black monstrosity that doesn't know what's going on. Yeah,
right.
That's how doodle breeders operate. But I don't know. I still don't understand. It happens with dogs.
Dogs are worse.
Yeah,
these are my pure labradoodles. What you said makes no sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess at a point, right? Here's the other side of it where I say about the whole hybridizing thing. It's like if you're making a pretty snake, who cares?
Accept it.
Yeah, I don't.
If your goal is like to make a pretty snake and you don't care about anything else, accept it. And when people come at you and be like, what the fuck? You'd be like, I'm making a pretty snake. Don't sit there and be like, oh, don't tell me my process. No, you're making a pretty snake. That's
so
it.
Like, I remember the early days of MP when John Battaglia will be talking about that with Gamma, right?
Right.
And it's like everybody was up in arms about this. Oh, I can't believe you're bleeding the diamond jungle jag, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, come on, man. You can't, I don't care who you are. I don't care who you are. You can't look at a Gamma Jag and not say, oh, that's a pretty snake.
You
know
exactly.
What I mean? You can't. Even if you don't like Jags, whatever, you can't look at that snake and say, no. I mean, remember when we would be at a show and it would be Mo would be there with us? It would be like she would have nothing but, the brightest jungles and the Gamma Jags. And it's like, here we are with these. I have poplin carpets that are just like, blah, no one's got
gray
coastals,
baby coastals.
Like, and here she is with like,
and she's selling like 6 or 7, and we're like, all right, well, I guess I could trade some of these to somebody for road money. That's how it goes. But again, except your thing is if you told me that you don't give a shit about this purity stuff and your mission is just to make pretty snakes, fine, whatever. But then that's it. Accept it. Like, but to sit there and be like, I care about having the best and pure stock that I'm going to mix and go crazy with. It's like, all right, well, I don't even know what the hell you're doing anymore.
Do you guys feel that we have a certain responsibility to say the next generation of reptile keepers to sort of keep some of those lines or those species intact so that they're not lost to the hobby?
It would be nice.
Yeah.
I think it'd be nice. I think we should try because I think we're going to. The problem, like what you're talking about with bulletproof carpets, how like they're bulletproof now. They're just forgiving of when you fuck up with them. Like you're going to do it.
Right.
So I think we should try to preserve these lines and these species because I think we're going to fuck it up and we're going to lose some. And if we don't try, we're going to lose more. Like I think certain species are going to fall by the wayside from problems that are beyond our control, whether there be legality or the one guy who bred them really well retires and his collection disperses and all those animals wink out and then he gone. Like there are certain species that like, I think it was like water dragons or something like that like people couldn't get. I know we had to re-import Dunai. Right. Yeah. Ring pythons were being handed out for free at reptile shows, and now they're hard to find. So, what?
Oh man,
that's going on the note list.
Of course it should. But
just giving them out. You get a ring python.
Give them away. You get a ring python. When you went to Hamburg, you got to have it in a bag with a crocodile and a retic.
Yeah,
people kept giving back the ring pythons. It was weird.
They're not less popular because the possibility that you buy a female and she eats every single male that you go and buy. I mean, it has nothing to do with that.
Listen, that is going to haunt my dreams later this year as Ryan Young puts his male in with my colossal female, and I have to have. We had to have
someone else's problem now.
Well, we had to have the conversation like several times of you're cool if she kills him. Yeah, you're cool if she kills him or he kills her. Everybody's cool. Everyone's okay if somebody kills somebody. No one's gonna have any kind of hard feelings if someone dies. Yeah, everybody's okay. All right. You sure? Yes. Okay.
Until the tiny male kills Owen's female.
Listen, if the tiny male kills the female, good luck, buddy. I don't know how you did that.
I choked on him.
I am more exactly. Yeah. I'm more concerned that she chokes on his body and they're both dead. Right. Because you never want to have that where it's like I never want to have to call somebody I did a breed loading with and be like, "Hey, your python's dead" or something like that. Like that is no. I will. But
but it happens.
It does.
Yeah.
So that's why you have to do breed loans. I don't do breed loans with people if I don't trust you. If you have one of my animals, I trust you, and also I don't want it back. Like I'm giving it to you. You send me babies. Don't you dare bring that thing back to my house.
Yeah, I don't want unless I ask one. I want the little one.
I want the little ones. Give me that one. Yeah. Like no,
and that's why I was jumping up and down when Eric was like, "Oh, so how many adults can you house?" I'm like, "Well, for myself, or like, what's the question?"
What are you talking about? Yeah,
hey, what are you talking about? He's like, "Oh, yeah, if I send you these," like, "Oh, yeah," and it was just like I had recently had a stack of AP cages that I only waited 6 months for. And I'm like, okay, cool. The perfect timing. I mean,
thank God they're here.
Yeah,
I forgot.
I mean, I still like them. I like those cages. They're good cages. They just they just have to plan around them, and I like them because I like Blastoids. It might be the aquatic side of me being snobbish. I don't like the look of acrylic because acrylic scratches and it warps. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I just like the glass, and then my clumsy ass drops the panel and breaks. I can just get it replaced.
Yeah, I have my stack of 3 back here for my roughies. I love them. I ordered them to potentially do for breeding season, and they arrived shortly after the second clutch hatched. So they did good. Yeah.
And the parents, the quick ship option cage.
They were on sale. I got the quick thing. Yeah, it was great.
Wait, did it actually ship quickly though?
No. Well, you're right.
These are all quick shipped.
You're right.
They were not quickly shipped.
I got the alert that they finished, and they shipped awfully quick after they finished. 7 months after they were, So you're right. They did ship awful quick.
I wonder. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say like the last it took 6 months, but it was supposed to take longer than that. So it was it was only 6 months.
They have a thing on their.
They've improved.
They have a thing on their site that says, if it hasn't been like, what is it, like 90 days or something like that, don't even bother calling them right now. Like,
at least they're honest, man.
Yeah, don't even bother, dude. And then now
at least they're straight up. Like,
they're starting to charge people if you cancel after a certain amount of time or something like that. So
I think that's fair.
I do too.
I feel like they're the Seinfeld soup Nazi of reptile cages. Like,
yeah. But I mean, I love them. I would love more of them, but it's like
I'd like a quick 4 foot, 2 foot by 18.
Yeah, I'm gonna order my 9 6-foot cages now, and then I'll just kind of muddle around for a year, and then I'll get them. Yeah.
I just order them as I get babies. I'm like, okay, they're not going to come anytime soon, so it'll pop up eventually.
Yeah.
That's what works.
There you go.
I think I had a friend who had a Burmese python, and they ordered a cage from Boafile.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time the cage arrived, the Burm could use it as a hide box in its case. Yeah.
Wow.
Like they ordered like oh God, yeah. Like I'm like, dude, send him a picture of the berm in the cage. Do it. Like, it finally arrived.
You won't.
Yeah, you won't do it, you coward. Like, it's.
So what's the most anticipated pairing of the upcoming season?
So my most anticipated pairing is Beetlejuice. That's my Axanthic Jag with Belmont, my MBB Russian red. I would like to get some nice red hats. And then, of course, the other two pairings would be animals that belong to Eric. So it would be Katara. I'll probably use Belmont for her. And then Gunther, which is Eric's red Jag, I'll use him with Fuego. I might, and then after that, as long as that goes well, then maybe I'll throw him to the high percentage Jungle Coaster that I have. Okay. That's more, it doesn't have to happen. It's just more of a curiosity thing, just what will happen. Right. But yeah, that's just that. I will breed the jungles just to say that I bred them and just send them on their way. But it also seems that they sell themselves anyway. So, but they're not. How much more yellow, how much more black can you make them?
Right, exactly. It's like that. Like, you do it, and then you're like, cool, I could make, I guess, more of you. And then the kind of thing is, like, selling an adult pair of jungles seems to be pretty easy, because there's always somebody who maybe not even in Morelia who's like, I want a pair of jungles. Like, it always seems to be that way.
Yeah, I'm kind of shying away from jungles. I've had one really bad experience with selling, and I sent you that picture of that female jungle that time. I had some guy like get really, really nasty with me over a jungle. Basically like he was like, "Oh, she's too small." I'm like, she's slow growing. Like, there's like, "Oh, I've been doing this for longer. She should be 8 feet or so. She's probably a male."
Jesus
like,
Christ.
Yeah, it was like,
it got to the point that aren't 8 feet. Yeah,
he was being I think ultimately, because it was like one of those I have to ask my wife scenarios. So he had his dad pay for it. So I think his wife found out about it. So that's just my thought process. The second one, same thing. Somebody's like, "Oh, she's small," but I said she's small. Then once she colored up, because she got there a little cold, she's a little darker. Right. Once he actually says like, "Oh, okay, I'm sorry, I was a dick." I'm like, "Okay, cool. At least you owned up to it." But
cool. Don't ever contact me again. Like, it's
I'll give credit when it's due, but yeah, it's just like that's part of it. Is like I don't want to deal with jungles. Like, why? I don't know. It could just be the luck of the draw. That's my experience.
But there seems to be a thing going on right now, because I saw a post on Facebook that somebody had a yearling bredli, and I caught my eye because I thought for a quick sec. What?
Keith Cannon.
No.
Something different.
Something different.
For Casey.
Something different. I thought it was one of my bredli, because they said that they had this thing. They picked it up like a couple months ago, and that it was supposed to be a yearling, and it weighs this much, and is behind on the growth curve and stuff like that. And people are like, no, of course not. And then like people are kind of going like, no. And then Nick comes in and he's like, there's no such thing as a growth curve. What are you talking about? It's a baby snake. Feed it some more, it'll grow. And if it's not meant to get huge, it won't. It's like, okay. So, and then Travis told us that he's been fielding some stuff about how people are reporting things on Morph Market for being too thin, too small, malnourished, all this other stuff. So it kind of seems like there's this shift right now where, because baby pythons aren't these giant, massive things after a year, that they're too small.
Yeah, but then it's that other thing. Like, okay, like what's someone's interpretation of what a small, thin animal is, especially on the Morph Market? It's like, okay, I get it. It's geared for the buyer, but also the sellers are kind of paying for these things too. But then it's like also to get flagged or to get banned from like, oh, because your animal's too small. But like, yeah, but according to who? Like, these animals should be this size. That's why I'm like, just start a website and just sell it that way.
Right. Yeah. And here's the thing is that if this thing is a year old and I have been feeding it hoppers, like, fuzzies and hoppers for this whole year of its life, it's not going to get massive. And also, I am not going to break my bank getting this animal up to breeding size for you. Like, I am going to feed it, and then I want it out of here by the time it gets on small mice, because now it's starting to get a little bit more expensive.
I think that's a carryover from the ball python world.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that they, this idea that you got to pound the male to get him up, and he's like, 6 months old, and he's breeding 8 females, and like, yeah, go boy, I weighed snakes just because I wanted to learn for me. Right. It had nothing to do with, having data to give people. I just wanted to see, like, okay, what are they when they hatch out? I know I read in the book that they should be 20 grams. What are they actually? So I weigh it and I would write it down, and I would say, okay, like, what is considered good growth? Right. By this year, what happens when I don't feed them during the winter as much? Like, did they lose weight? Did they?
How far are they behind on other ones that have been eating the whole time?
Again, this is just for me. It's not because I want to go on Facebook and say, oh, this is what it is. But I don't know. That's how I learn. I guess that's what I was sort of saying earlier. I don't see like a lot of that sort of thing in the snake world, right? They like want to learn, and maybe I'm just not seeing it. Maybe it's only certain people do it. Maybe nobody does it. Maybe nobody cares. I don't know. But like, it was the reason why I would hold back everything, because I wanted to see how they develop, so that later on, when somebody did ask me, hey, do you think this one is going to grow up to be a nice adult? Now, there's no guarantees, obviously, but you're going to have a better idea of like, what it's going to look like as they grow. Like chondros, I don't understand it. I don't.
It's a roll of the dice, baby.
And they're like, oh, these little, the little diamonds on that. What?
I
what
can tell because there's less and more.
I don't get it. How is it turning blue? Where do you see the blue?
Mike phase. What?
Yeah,
I hate that. I hate that phrase.
I don't like it. No, I don't want.
Whoever named that morph should got like, why, dude?
He's like, yeah, I really want to sell these snakes. Watch them fly off the shelf.
Man, call them Mike faces.
Like, what?
You dick. Yeah.
But growth wise, I just feel like my animals just hit that growth spurt after I switched like prey size. Like if I bump someone from hopper to small, it seems to grow automatically. And it doesn't matter what size, it's just after they hit.
Right.
It can be small to large, and then, oh, wait, what the heck? Okay, you need a tub upgrade. Oh, you need to move to your cage. Okay, cool.
That's the other problem, too, is
so
like,
what
I can't keep upgrading tubs. Like, so they're on smalls, and then normally most of them go between fuzzies, hoppers, and then smalls. Some other ones go. And then there's usually one or two that kick around that eventually have to get onto like large mice.
Right.
Then they're all gone before they hit small rat, because I'm not doing that.
I kind of feel like that growth spurt comes from the idea, like when you introduce a larger prey item,
right?
That snake is like, oh wait, there's bigger prey around here. I need to throw some. Like, I don't know if that's accurate or not, but I'm kind of in that same camp with you. Like the thinking that, once you bump it up, then all of a sudden you're like, whoa, what happened? Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. What do you want to talk about? Morph market?
Yeah.
What do you guys think of the whole?
Do all that. Yeah.
What did the blowout Morph Madness
sale.
Monday Amazon online type of thing?
I didn't even see that.
Yeah,
I don't know. I feel like I personally speaking, like I'm on there. I'm looking at something very specific because I'm trying to get information. I'm trying to see how much animal A is, just for the sake of like, okay, what would this market value be? But it's not like I'm basing any of my projects on an animal because of its price. Right. And I'm just looking at it like, okay, what do I like this animal? Do I want this animal for me? Okay, would I enjoy this? Okay, cool. Then I will breed it for myself. And if someone wants it, then they can get something for me. But otherwise, I'm not. I don't know. I don't want to get into too much trouble with this, but
well, all right. Would you do you have your own website, or what do you normally do?
I'm in the process of building something.
Okay.
Just because I know that I don't want to use a third party platform with that, just because like for all we know, all this stuff can disappear tomorrow. Someone can, get fed up like, I don't want this anymore. Or it can be like with, what is it, with Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it these days. Someone might just go and make something else, and it'd be, I don't know. So I just feel like, I don't know, I feel like I would just want to post some, maybe one or two animals I might use Morph Market for, or maybe fauna classifieds, which seems to be going strong despite it seems antiquated, but I don't know.
Yeah, and it's full of like pop-up ads and other craziness, but yeah.
Yeah, but I want to I do want to rely on a website though. Or I'll just be like, hey, I know you're working with this. Do you want this animal?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I agree with you. I think I've always had the website. I think it's the way to go. I always want it to be the Gary Baye type of approach where you have to know somebody in order to get my email, or like just stumble upon the website just by accident, and then then you contact me. So it's not you sort of, it's almost like you create it's weird. When I had animals for sale, it was just not a struggle, but it was, you had to work for it to sell them, right?
Right.
When I don't have animals for sale, when I say over and over on the podcast that I'm really
tapped out,
snakes
there's
anymore,
nothing, yeah.
I don't. I have had more people contact me than ever. Like, hey man, I know you're not selling snakes, but is there any way? Do you have anything that's floating around that, like, even when you took that red jag, I can't tell you how many people were like, oh man, do you have any more of those red jags? And I'm like, no, I don't. No. I'm sorry. I know that was the last one,
My favorite is I brought a pair of rhinos. Actually, I brought a trio of rhinos to the Hamburg show. And people are like, would you take any kind of price cut? And I'm like, no. And I'll tell you why. Because I have never had to list a single rhino rat snake I've ever produced. If you don't want to buy it at this price, I will sit and I will wait, and someone will send me an email and be like, do you have any rhinos? And they will pay the price, and then off the rhino goes. So, no.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like with the Morph Market thing, it's kind of like, I get it. You want to have a site that's geared to protect the buyers. You want people to come there to ultimately buy those snakes.
Right.
But I guess just from what I see online and the back and forth, and again, I'm just looking at it at the surface level, and I'm sure there's more to it and more nuance to all of it. But it just seems like his name's Darren. Yeah. His approach is more geared, like not geared towards the person selling the animal. It's more geared towards the protection of the buyer. Right. And I guess the problem I see with that is that the seller is paying you to sell their snakes.
Right.
And like, if there's no sellers, then you don't have a platform. Like, you need the sellers. So like, I get it. There's a balance there, and you're in a tough situation where there's going to be very, again, nuanced situations to where, and you know how it goes. As soon as somebody doesn't get, well, just like you were saying, this jungle's too small, this thing, blah, blah. Right. It's immediately right to roast you. That's just how our culture is anymore. There's no, like, let me talk to you on the side or anything. It's just like, I'm canceling you. You're done. This is it. You're a piece of shit.
You go to hell.
Never smell the snake again. And it goes both ways too, right? You see it where the people will say, like, I've seen it where some people ask the question, like, I get how annoying it is when somebody says, hey, I know you said 350. Anyway, you can take 300. What's wrong with just saying no?
No, thanks. My answer to that always is,
I don't get it.
Right. My answer to that always is no, thank you, or I can't. And that's it.
Yes.
There's no other dialogue that needs to happen.
Not like it, you piece of shit. I hope you die.
How fucking dare you?
How did we get here? Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. That's
there's
just
also
a surface thought.
There's also the thing of like knowing that coming in and asking, like saying, Ish, will you take $100? And if Ish goes, no, I go, all right, and walk away. Like, I'm not like, fuck him for not taking my $100. God damn it. I'm going to ruin. Like, there's no, dude, I won't. That's it. We're done.
The one thing I can understand. Sorry. I just like, I can understand, like, if someone's like, if someone's making an offer, it's like maybe within like the 10% range. Maybe. I'm not saying that I'll do it, not saying that I'm going to agree with it, but maybe I'll understand that. But it's like if someone is selling a $1,000 animal, like, hey, will you take $500 for it shipped?
Bite me. I mean, I'm sorry. No.
Yeah.
It's like, but here's the thing. Also, I've been at shows where the beginning of the day, somebody's like, will you take $500 for this animal? And I'm like, no. And then the day goes on and I sell a bunch of animals over here and I do this and I do that. And then somebody else comes over and they're like, will you take $500 for that animal? I'll be like, yeah, because you know what? I sold a bunch. This is just one less that I have to deal with, and that's fine. So yeah, maybe you catch them at the wrong time. But again, if they say no, just walk away. Like, that's it.
I get that. But at the same time, I don't get that, right?
I understand.
I understand that what you're saying, and the I even understand what you said, Ish, about like it's $1,000 and can you take 500, whatever the case would be. I think the problem that I have with it is like you're expecting it to be something else. And it's not, like you're expecting the people that are coming to you to buy snakes, maybe how you purchased the snake, right? Because maybe and that's probably why you're a breeder, is because you're, whether it's like buying specific reds or caramel, whatever project you're working on or whatever, it's like, I want this animal. I have the money. When can I get it? Blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I guess for me as a buyer, I've always been that way. It's like, so-and-so is doing a pairing. I want an animal from that pairing. Can you put me on the list? Can you tell me when the babies are ready? And when the babies are ready, I'm like, okay, what's
money?
The price?
Here is money.
Usually with me, what's the price? I don't know. What do you think you would put it at? No, man, just tell me what the price is. If you tell me 500, tell me what your PayPal is, and you will have 500. Like if you tell me 1,000,
buying and selling from other breeders I'm so happy with that. Like I called them, I would like this animal, and they're like, how's this sound? Fucking perfect. Like it's done. Like I'm not going to sit here and try to bullshit somebody, because the last thing I want is for our interaction to leave a bad taste in somebody's mouth. Because I'm a breeder, you're a breeder, and I've come to you because apparently I like what you're doing. And the last thing I want is for you to be like, if Owen McIntyre calls me, I'm not picking it up. Like, no.
Yeah, but all of us, right, all of us have been in the position where we're not, say, the breeder yet, right? Mm-hmm. We've all been the buyer, and we still didn't act like that.
But so you sat there with the $200 you had, and you dreamed about the $2,000 snake that you saw on freaking King Snake and all those other things. You weren't calling people and be like, I got $200 cash in my hand, baby. Like, no, it was, you shut the fuck up. You sat the fuck down. Like
there are people that haggle, and that's just how they go. That's how I do it. But here, but what I'm saying is that no matter what, like my father-in-law, he's a haggler, right? He's just a haggler. He just does it. It doesn't matter where we are. I'm like, the eggs are the eggs, man. You can't haggle the price of the eggs. Like, what are you doing?
Please stop trying to get the waitress at Denny's to go a little bit lower. Like, just have the food.
I know people like that. I've seen it, so I get it.
Yeah, and that's just how some people are.
Everything. It's like,
yes. Like,
I don't know if some people like that. Like, some people get a thrill out of that thing. They can get this animal for this much, which is fine. But again, know that some people are going to say no to you.
If my wife, if she saves herself $5, I mean, just $5, it's like the greatest thing that ever happened.
Receipt goes in the fridge.
In the whole year. It's like, I can't believe I sold $5. Save $5. Oh yeah, what did you get? I don't even know. It doesn't even matter. Okay. I saved $5. I know, but you spent $100 to save $5. Like, don't. Okay, you have your thing, honey. It is what it is.
I don't know.
Hopefully she doesn't listen this deep into the show.
I mean,
Yeah.
good start watching out for those things.
I guess my whole point is like, if you're going to sell anything, you're going to have to deal with that part
The public, yeah.
of the public. It's just how it goes. Like,
Yeah.
Just roll with those punches. You know, don't curse anyone out. Don't tell them to go run into traffic. Again, if someone says it's fine, it's just I don't know. It's exhausting. I get it. I've had one person message me on Instagram several times, like, "What do you have available?" Okay, this is what I have. How much is for this? This is the price. Okay, cool. I'll message you in a week. Okay.
Oh, okay. Why?
Cool.
right.
Yeah, why? So I was like, well, you take this. No. Will you do a trade with ball pythons? Absolutely not. I don't want those things here.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's
How
just,
dare you?
Well, and that's I've had people, and the problem is that Morph Market seems like it's the biggest one where it's like, well, you take a trade for this, unless you have the following, which you don't. I don't, like, we're not trading. Also, this is like a $400 animal, and the animals I'm willing to trade for are not $400. I don't want to trade. And then weeks go by, and the same person's messaging, and he says, "Oh, I want to purchase it." I'm like, "All right, send me your zip code, and I'll punch up a thing for shipping." Crickets again. It's like, where does this guy go? Like, in between here? Like,
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, man. I understand, but on the flip side of that, right? I did see somebody. There was some post that I was reading where they were going back and forth with this type of topic, and the person was talking about taking pictures and like all these extra pictures, and the seller did it and sent them the pictures and all that stuff. But then like it ended up that the person didn't take it and sort of like gave him a hard time about it, and he's like why did he sort of just asked the question like, why did you waste my time? Because you said at the beginning of our conversation that it, like, I'm taking the snake, and then you asked for extra pictures, and then you did this thing, and then I waited a week and blah blah blah, and then all of a sudden now you don't want the snake. And his statement was something like this, like, why did you make me take pictures? And he's like, you're on my time. And I'm like, how dare you?
Oh, am I?
Fucking piece of shit.
I? Okay.
Yeah. Yes. How dare you with your entitled bullshit that I'm on your time? You can go fuck yourself. Where that
that's how people get blacklisted.
Yeah.
Just no.
Like
what kind of mentality is that?
What's your name? Okay, cool. And we're gonna hit the block button.
I don't care if I hatch out a unicorn. Go away. Like, it's the thing of like, I will bust out the light tent. I will take a good picture. And then, you know what? If you ask me for more pictures, I may have a couple of ones, but most of the time people want updated pictures. Okay, but you're getting a crappy cell phone picture because I'm opening the drawer and I'm taking the picture and then closing the drawer. Some people want like proof of life videos, and I'm like, okay, there you go. Let him do his thing.
I've had somebody ask me for pictures, and they wanted a video of me handling said snake because they wanted to know the temperament of said snake.
Well, that's the other thing, is that people always want to know the temperament, but I'm going to take pictures of myself and I'm going to send them to you. And if those aren't the pictures to your liking, you can ask me for more, but then we're going to start getting into the whole of like, do I want to keep kind of like how much of your time am I going to waste here? So,
yeah. They want extra pictures. Okay, cool. But it's like, okay, once you want like, a Coca-Cola can next to it, or once like the coffee, like, oh, that's not that coffee. Can't put this coffee. Can't put
today's newspaper. Yeah.
No. Like,
oh wow, it goes that deep, right?
No, not today's newspaper. I don't think. Not yet. Give it a bit. I did.
You just put it out there into the ether. Oh, and it's now.
I kind of got a little mad at this guy at the show because he was handling a caramel jag, and he's holding her and he's like stretching her out. And the jag ended up biting him like twice, but it didn't do anything until he said, "Hang on, honey, I'm just checking you for mites." And I'm like, "Excuse the fuck out of me."
Good. I'm glad she bit you.
Bit him. I'm like, "Good girl, I'm keeping you." Like, it's The problem is, I think that sellers or buyers are they have it so ingrained that these are the questions that they should ask. These are the things they should worry about. And everybody's out there trying to fuck them. And it's like, yeah, but that's not necessarily true. So the delivery, and sometimes if you don't do it right, you can come across as kind of a jerk when you're trying to buy a snake. And people seem to not think that. They seem to think that they can just walk in and be a jerk to you because they got the cash and you want to sell the snake. Well, you got to understand is that I got the snake and I don't need to sell it to you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess this is just growing pain of how it goes, how it gets bigger, you get more people into it, and it's just how it goes. I mean, I don't know. It's just not for me because I just can't deal with that. I do it at work. I can't deal it. I can't do it.
Not me time.
Yeah. Do you have people kind of give you a hard time with shipping prices?
I have no control over that. Talk to the shipping companies. Till then, bite me.
I've had people like, oh, but it's not my budget. Yeah, but I take screenshots of like, this is what shipping is.
Yeah.
This is the price of this plus this equals snake in your home. Like,
right.
I don't know.
This is
where I think Darian is failing, right?
Right.
Where he's coming to the defense of the buyer in many situations, and some of those situations warrant him to do so because they raise to the level of that's a problem. However, where are you telling the buyer, like, hey, listen, you want the snake? I know it's $100, but to ship it to your door,
right?
Like
it costs this much.
Somehow it's like, I can't believe that's this much money.
Right?
Flew on a plane overnight to your door.
My favorite is the ones who complain about that the worst.
I can't believe it's only $50. Like,
right?
I don't know.
Listen, shipping from my house within the state of Pennsylvania is $45.
Right.
The goddamn thing doesn't leave the state. So if you're in California, I don't know what you want me to do here. So it's like they're like, oh, $90 for shipping. That's what it is.
Opposite end.
Yes.
Yeah. It's kind of funny how we look at that, right? It's like even myself, I'll go on there and I'm shipping something and it's just like look at it and I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah.
That really went up,
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I'm paying is what it is. But I guess the other thing that I would be thinking about where Darian, I think, again, should maybe put it this way is like if you don't have the money to ship, if you don't have an extra $50, how are you going to take care of this animal?
Well, that's the thing we always talk about at shows where it's like, can you take this for $100? No, I can't. Well, I only got $100 on me. You're telling me that this is makes or break you like that. Well, then how the hell are you going to feed it? Like yeah.
I don't know. To deter people like that away from me, if that's going to be the case, like because it's like, yeah, but rodents aren't cheap.
No, those are going up in price too.
True.
The entire everything in the hobby is going up in price.
Yes.
Do you think that the prices of snakes today are maybe too high, which is why they're not selling the way they are? Do you think it's like, I mean, it's kind of a made up number. Like we kind of made the number up.
Yeah.
Like,
if I want to get it, but I'm probably not going to spend $15,000 for a wild caught Bolin's, but
$15,000 is generous. That's like a $25,000 or like.
I know. Hey, it's wild caught. Yeah, no, good. Thanks.
Yeah, no, please, no.
That would be an example. That's the example I'm talking about. To me, the price of that animal is it's just too. I don't know. I think long term for the success of the animal in captivity, you're hurting it rather than helping it. I think $15,000 is just out of the realm of possibility for too many people. And like, why? Because you want it to be some elite circle that somehow you have these bones. And it's weird how we think as reptile keepers or snake keepers. It's like a corn snake can be the most beautiful snake but at the same time, it's like, no, I have to have the Bolins because that's what people have if they're on this level, it's like,
well, it's people, it's a status symbol, you get the turbo car because you want to drive down my street at 2 a.m. revving the engine.
That's like a personal situation.
It is. If I could find out who that is, God, if I had spike strips, anyway, I digress.
Going out there like,
yeah, but you do that. It's a status symbol.
My money.
Yeah.
Yeah, on my side. Right.
But it's a status symbol. I have a bowling eye. I have this. Because if you're looking for iridescence, you can get that in any kind of solid black snake and a bunch of others that aren't. If that's what you're looking for. If you're looking for a big python, you can get that in a bunch of things. If you're looking for something that won't breed and will tear your face off, you got that in several species too. Like, what do you want? You want to say that you have a Bolin's. You want to say you have a lace monitor. Problem is, lace monitors bred like crazy. So now, laces are dropping down because the price just isn't there.
They didn't think that one out.
Right. That's the problem. When females become nothing but egg-laying machines, you can't really keep ahead of them. So there's a lot of that kind of
monitors, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So
one of the reasons why I never got into one of the many reasons why I never got into them.
Monitors,
I can't do insects. Big reasons to insects. I can't do insects. If I drop the bin of dubia, I'm going to burn my house down. Like, I'm not.
Like, that's it. Up too late.
Like, no, I want
the snakes.
Once upon a time, I wanted Kim's, and I was like, oh, and then I can't get over this dubia thing. It might be the New Yorker in me because I just think I get it, dubia, tropical roaches. They're not going to climb the walls. I'm like,
no, don't no.
Nah.
Yeah.
Like, no.
Is there another species outside of snakes that you have tempted you recently?
No. If I ever got this is gonna sound silly. If I actually had when I have my forever home and I have a large yard, I do like turtles. I would like to keep some
tortoise.
I'll get you. Not tortoise. No, not tortoise. No. I don't want it. No, I don't want anything that has to go in a will. I don't want a tortoise. I'll do turtles, but that's about as far. But even
we're talking aquatic turtle.
Aquatic turtle
in the northeast. Jesus,
you can do sliders. You can do
to bring them in every winter.
No, the ones in Central Park hibernate. You just go in the water. Those things are staying outside. True. I'm not bringing them inside.
Good point. I
have them in my park out back.
Wait. Yeah. Someone found a radiator slider for during Carpet Fest.
Yeah.
I think it was Rob Christian. He was like, freaking, he's like, you want a slider? I'm like, what the hell? Freaking dinner.
No one wants the slider. Yeah.
Yeah. No, but that's about it.
That was the one that was in my pool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where it came from?
Before.
Well, no, it was in the pool.
No, I found it in my pool. I was like, wait, there's a turtle in my pool? What the hell?
Yeah. And then Rob found out, you told Rob that there was that it was in your pool, and he's like, I'm gonna go find it, and he went out to the creek and he found it. Yeah. So
one less turtle.
Dude, there's sliders appear all over the place. There's the reptile zoo up in Allentown that they have an outdoor enclosure with sliders, and they have those little gumball machines where food comes out, and you get the little handful of Reptimin for $0.25, and you huck it in there. Every winter they bring all the turtles inside, and there's a couple babies that hatch out and stuff like that. But every year there's 5 or 6 new turtles that people have brought to the goddamn zoo and dropped in this enclosure and walked away.
Oh, wow.
That's why if you go to any zoo and there are sliders in the moats at certain people, they didn't put them in there. Other people dropped their turtle at the zoo.
Yeah, it's like
it in your pocket,
whoop, there he goes. Don't want this anymore. Yeah.
Where'd that come from?
they just all right. That turtle lives here now. Yeah. Whatever.
So, all right. We're almost at 2 hours, but wow, that went quick. I would ask you if I'll let Owen ask questions too after me, but the question I have: are you a herper at all? Or no?
Not a herp, but I do try to get out and see at least stuff that's local. At least stuff like I've been looking at stuff online, like, what can be found, like what's in New Jersey, stuff like that. So that's taken an interest. I probably won't try. I mean, I say I won't travel, but like if I ended up like in the Caribbean or if I ended up in Australia, that's an entirely different story. Just maybe don't touch anything that's going to probably kill me.
Yeah. Good idea.
Right.
But yeah, but otherwise, like it's hard to do it with work, and I have to be, it's tricky to balance that. So, and even that, doing that and maintaining this has been, something else, because like veterinary medicine does that type of thing to you.
Gotcha. Okay.
All right.
Go ahead, Owen. Do you have other one?
I mean, New Jersey's full of plenty of things. It's awesome. The problem is every time we go down there, we just get infested with ticks. So
yeah, that's the other thing too.
Yeah.
That was brutal.
Yeah.
Apparently, there's these things you can buy though that you put around your ankle, or you're like around your calf, and the tick can't crawl over it. It just falls.
Or I can save my money and just wrap duct tape around my ankles with the sticky side facing out.
I guess you could do that, but then you would have ticks stuck to the tape.
They're dying slowly as a warning to the others that might want to try
it. Do not pass. Is that it? Okay, I see how you work.
Walk with a Seresto collar, call it a day.
Yeah. Just clip it on. What's that powdery thing? Don't worry about it. Yeah. So, all right. I guess we get into the closing questions. I guess the first one this is one I like. Is there a species that you passed on that you regret passing on?
No, but there is a species. If I were to get something, I would probably say something like a Kalatoa retic, super dwarf, but that's about as far as I'll venture out.
Jesus.
Like if I were to get something, because like they've always intrigued me, but I don't want anything that's gonna grow big enough to eat my dogs. But
yeah, right. I forget. I was watching something and they were talking about a reticulated python, and they showed stock footage of an Amazon tree boa slithering down something, and I'm like, you. Not only did you miss the mark, you missed it so goddamn far. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, those things are painful to watch.
So what about why the Coato? Why that one?
Manageable size, maybe a little bit larger than a carpet python. I like things that are manageable. So nothing, nothing that. But I do like retics. Like I think, unfortunately, most retics are just kept hard. Like mainland retics are just kept incorrectly. Like they shouldn't be fat and sluggish. I don't know. That's just me. But they just always draw me. But it's also one of those things like, okay, where would it come from? Who would, so it's just like if I ever got another python, maybe that. I tried the Liasis because the Savu came in a trade, and I'm quickly realizing, this is why a lot of people don't like you guys. She's cool, but it's like, you're pissing everywhere. Lovely. Like, it's just,
I can't touch my female Dunai. Yep.
Yeah, I wanted a Timor python once upon a time. I was like, no, never mind. When I heard of the species sling, like, no, I'm good.
I have 5 right now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well.
But I need the Savus. I need to get the Savus because I'm starting to do that thing where I'm like, I don't care that I don't have all the Liasis. Yes, I do. Like, okay, that'll happen later. All right. What was in your opinion, your greatest achievement in herpetoculture, whether it is herping, breeding, something reptile related?
Greatest accomplishment? I wouldn't say it's an accomplishment, but I guess it made me feel relevant was when Eric actually sent me his 3 animals. Because like if there's something when a breeder, especially he's the red guy, I'm always going to refer to him, but when he's like, okay, just to have someone sending their prized animals to you, it just it speaks volumes. Like you don't have to say anything else. Like I'm sending you, like, you trust me with these. Okay, cool. Thank you.
There's a weird level of trust and responsibility where it's like, oh God, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I had that moment very brief. Like, no, wait, hang on. Like, something happened. You know, but no, it was like, well, if something happens, you just bring it to work and you deal with it that way. But
Right.
it was just that it was just very. It was humbling. It's just like, okay,
Right.
cool. Like, and then as people say, like, if you stick around long enough and you're consistent, like, you know, people kind of notice that type of thing versus like jumping around all over the place.
It's one of those things that if I could go back and kind of tell myself, if you just stick around and be consistent, all those animals you want are going to fall into your lap. And also those people that you admire are going to, like, you're going to have their phone numbers in your phone and you're going to be able to call them whenever and stuff like that. So that would be the one thing. So on that, what would be one bit of advice you would give to your past self or to a new herper coming in now?
Think about what you want. Keep what makes you happy. You don't have to build your collection in a day.
Yes.
Like, if you think about it, and if you think about you know, if you want something, you don't have to get it yesterday. You can wait a while and get it, and, you know, just hold out. But yeah, just don't rush into things and just slow it down. Don't get everything at once.
Slow and steady. You know, keep what you're doing what you're doing, and then everything kind of just clicks into place. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I do need Russians though, which Eric is on my radar for.
Eric's on a lot of people's radar for the Russians.
Right up there. Yeah.
I see it.
It's all right. I believe in him. Even if I have to come there with a folding chair and stare at him, and be like,
I have bred snakes before, man. It's not
I don't know if you're like, I don't know what to do with like hands. It's like, you know, does the mail go in now? Yes, please God, open the door and put the mail in. Yeah,
that's going to be an amazing pairing.
Yes,
the both of them. Yes, they are.
They're all of them are going to be gorgeous, and it's just going to be one of those. It's going to be one of those clutches that as they hatch, I'm gonna be like, I like this one. Next one comes out of the egg, I like this one. Like, it's never going to be. There's going to be that one where I'm like, not you, but everybody else. Like, it's, I don't know.
Yeah.
So
I'm curious to see the reds. How many are red? How many are not red? How many are striped? How many are striped and red? You know, because remember when Mike Curtin first hatched them out.
Exactly. Also, how many different avenues are we going to have out of this? Like, how many different projects? Like, are there going to be some that look like the dad? And is that going to go off this way? Are there going to be some that look like her and go this way? And that, like, can you branch it off?
It would be cool to see if Rare Genetics can actually like figure out what exactly is up with these reds. Like, is, you know, because they seem to behave like polygenic. Some people say otherwise, but it'd be nice to like, nope, this is this. Like, oh, okay, cool. You know, just answer that question.
For clarifying. Yeah. And then I'm going to take the first Russian tiger out of that entire group and cross it with a jaguar. For old time's sake, yeah.
How dare you?
I know.
Just for that,
you don't get any. I don't get any.
I
don't get any of my own animals offspring. Nope. It's like, okay.
Nope. You told me that if you ever said those words, that I would cut you off.
Did I say that?
Cut you off. You did. It's in the contract.
I don't remember half the things I say.
Exactly. So if people want to follow you, Ish, where's the best place?
So IQ Exotics on Instagram, IQ Exotics on Facebook. If anyone's sending me a friend request on the Ish Quinones, just they're in for a big disappointment. That's just used more as an outlet for food and sarcasm. I don't really post snake stuff there. I think I posted that. Yeah, I posted that one cover photo of Beetlejuice, and people who know me who did not realize I had snakes. Like, what the hell? Like, yes, it's a snake. Yeah. But, you know, you have that thing in the house? Yes. Where else would I keep it? Is she loose?
No.
Why do they always think that they're just running around?
Well, there's free range. I just like Like I'm like, oh yeah, all the snakes are down the basement. Are they loose? Yes. And I take a bucket of live mice and heave it down the basement every couple weeks.
Yeah.
Like, no, it's hilarious because people friend you on Facebook, but that's not where the snakes are. The snakes are on the Instagram, or the snakes are on Rogue's Facebook page. Like, don't.
Yeah.
But people don't ever seem to make that connection. And what I used to do was, if you were a snake person and you friended me, I'd invite you to like Rogue's Facebook page, and they wouldn't do it. I'm like, what? This is what you want to like, whatever.
No, and at work, people don't like. It's funny because my head vet, she's like, I'm totally okay with you liking snakes, but if it was someone else who likes snakes, I think they're weird. I'm like, okay. But why is that? It's like, we have to be nice to you. Yeah, I don't understand that. But
you're
I guess
not weird like those snake people.
Well, no, that's the other thing that people are like, wait, but you seem like, because when a lot of people figure out that I actually keep them at work, especially, they're like, wait, but you don't strike me as a typical reptile keeper. Like, I'm sorry, but I have tattoos, I have piercings. What don't I not?
You seem well adjusted and not weird.
I also think weird is subjective. I think we're all weird in our own ways.
Right. But
yeah.
It's like,
I don't know whether to take as an insult or a compliment.
That's why I was like, when she asked me, I'm like, wait, what is that supposed to mean?
Yeah. Like, okay. Thank you. Like, it's
Yeah, I've just become
just that.
The snake guy. That's where I am.
I've just embraced the weird snake guy.
Just like, okay.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
nothing wrong with it. They're convenient.
Oh yeah.
100%. All right. Well, it's been great, man.
Yeah, dude.
Finally have you on. Yeah, exactly. Wish you nothing but the best in your upcoming projects, and I can't wait to see what you got, what you produce, and everything. So
catch up with you.
Best of luck this year.
The next Carpet Fest. Yeah. Now that you can.
Yes.
Yeah.
Alrighty, guys.
All right, man.
All right. Thanks, Dave. We'll talk to you soon.
I'll talk to you. Bye.
Cool.
All right. Well, there we go. Another one in the books. We talked about the calendar. It's coming out soon, so pay attention to that. Carpets and Coffee is going to be moving to Mondays.
Right, because Lucas is a young man, and you and I are both usually we're old, we're tired, we're home on the Friday night.
Yes.
He wants to go, and him and his girlfriend want to do things, and I'm like, to be young and and have a podcast that's getting in your way of doing it.
Right. I think you can relate to that a little bit. Huh?
It's just like when he said it, I'm like, oh God, we've come full circle.
Yes, I know. This is what Eric felt like back then.
Oh no,
that's about it.
No, wait, I'm still cool. It's like, oh no, I didn't even think about it. It's like,
nope, you're in my group now, buddy. So on November 6th, we're going to rein it in, true style, episode 83 of Carpets and Coffee, 7 p.m. I'm assuming it's 7 p.m. Mr. Nick Mutton is going to come and hang out with us. Apparently, he likes both coffee and carpets. We know about the one. Didn't really know about the other. I didn't know about the coffee part.
There we go.
You know, I'm gonna see if he's a nerd about coffee. As
never having on Carpets and Coffee. But then Lucas is like, you were.
He's like one of the only guests. It was him, Brett Bender.
Yeah,
Justin's been on.
I think.
And even had Rob on Carpets and Coffee.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
Which I don't know if you have this show in the books yet, but if you don't make the doctor come on this show and talk to us about his herping in Australia, I don't know what the hell we're doing here anymore.
Yes, we should talk to him about that. That is true.
Thank you. I want credit for that.
I was
show.
worried. Okay, and I do have the doctor lined up. I just have to figure out a date. But Dominic requested the Pygmy Python
That's the
episode
thing.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Well, your wife may listen to that, isn't she? An Andalusia fan?
No. No, and she bred
just gonna
stimmies.
send her a message. I think you should listen
She
to this.
bred stimmies. She didn't breed pygmies.
That's Aunt Teresa.
I know it's Aunt Teresa, but that's I also don't want her to get stimmies. Like I don't want to deal. I don't want to deal with that.
I don't want to
Like,
open up this can of worms. I have enough of those snakes that won't eat.
she's yelling so she heard something, and now I'm in trouble.
Yep, you're in trouble. All she wants is a stimmy for Christmas, and you're
She
telling
wants
her
two
no.
stimmies. You need a pair of stimmies to breed.
Mhm. Okay,
You did it once.
So they're easy keepers too.
They're not easy to keep. Have you ever had to get baby Aunt Teresa going?
You keep them like purebreds and they breed.
Shut up.
You making sense? How dare you?
Shut up. Do you have any idea what we do with frog feeders in this house? The same thing we do with the other one. Shut up. Like it's
Making sense.
God damn it.
Well, hopefully, maybe sometime soon I can make that dream come true.
No, I don't want to.
Anyway,
You're like, it's not your
Justin
dream,
and Don
it's hers.
Patterson.
Yeah, God damn it.
yeah, Justin and Don Patterson are going to come on at some point and talk about pygmy pythons. And
Yep.
what a beautiful and at the same time pain in the ass.
That's adorable. We're getting Sims.
Yes, dear.
Yes. Yes. You don't have a choice.
I never had
Wait.
one.
Your wife is forcing you to get snakes and you're complaining. Come on, man.
They're not the ones I want.
Oh, so
They're
it's about
Simpsons.
you. I see.
Yeah,
I see.
it's about me. It's all about me and what I want in my snake.
I see.
I'm slowly losing. Listen, the last
I don't have any
ground
rules.
I lost to her in the reptile world is that half the room is now devoted to a tortoise. Like,
Yes. Pretty soon, the only space you're going to have is right on top of that roughy rack.
exactly. This is my only sanctuary. I have to keep.
Pillow right there. You
Ugh.
snuggle up. Oh, little roughies down there.
That's all my only friends. Yeah.
Everybody else has forsaken me.
Yep.
Okay, so that's the thing. And then I guess what else do we have? Just check us out on the social stuff. We have swag available in the Teespring store. We also have a Patreon if you want to join that. All those links are in the show notes.
Right.
Cold-blooded caffeine. We do a referral code with those gentlemen. And you can go and put NPR in and save yourself 10%. I would recommend the Carpets and Coffee blend, the NPR blend, whatever you want to call it.
Yep.
It is the best coffee, in my opinion, of the group. I think I've tasted just about all of them, and they're all fabulous. But something about that one,
We're partial about our one. Yeah,
it may be, maybe.
Yeah.
It may be.
Well, also
but-
it's a Papuan blend, right? Or it's a
Papua New Guinea.
the Papua New Guinea blend. So
It's a darker roast, which is what I like. I seem to like it, but it's got a really good flavor. Yeah, I love it.
I was waiting for two things to arrive in the mail. One was the book that I got today, and the other is that like cold brew thing. The cold brew thing's been delayed, and I'm a little bit more upset about that. Just because that book is just turned into be just. It's just horrible.
I got these. Yeah, I know. Oh my goodness. What's the book again? What's it called?
It is venomous bites by non-venomous snakes.
Yes.
So like snakes that have been labeled as non-venomous, and it shows different reactions people have had to their bites. So like Western hognose, Madagascar hognose, false water cobra, stuff like that. And it's like, oh dear Lord. Yeah.
Yeah, you were sending some pictures today. I was like, oh.
No, I'm never touching those again. It's like,
Were you saying Rob was right?
I haven't read the part on Baron's Racers, but the photos are
They say
haunting.
enough.
So yeah, I will. Yeah.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, just don't get bit.
You're right. Yeah, just don't do that. Also, Cold-Blooded Cafe. If you need rodents, the code MPR10 for 10% off your order.
Okay. Yeah, and it's I think that's all we got. And until
that's it. I think we'll catch everybody back here next week for some more Morelia Python Radio. Good night.